I visited Dreamworld for the first time in a few weeks, and I saw some stuff that I thought was awesome, and I also saw some stuff that I thought was not so awesome. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. Now, this may just be because I've been traveling in Japan and Hong Kong visiting some of the best theme parks in the world, and I haven't been to Dreamworld since Big Brother officially started earlier in the month, but my first impressions of the post-Big Brother premiere Dreamworld were not too impressed. It's difficult to describe it. It just had a strange atmosphere. Maybe it was just an off day or something, but something about the vibe of the park was a bit unusual. Walking through the entrance and seeing the Dreamworld globe and the Big Brother banners and Big Brother signs underneath it, it all struck me as a little bit tacky, and I feel horrible for saying it because I love Dreamworld so much, but I personally feel like the collision of these two very different brands was quite jarring, and I don't think they quite gel together the same way that perhaps they did when Big Brother was originally airing years and years ago at Dreamworld. I think the times have changed a little bit, and I'm not sure it's the greatest combination. Again, this might just be a personal thing. I'm not trying to be negative for the sake of clickbait or anything. Maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't like reality TV that much. It all seems a little bit trashy sometimes. I'm sorry for anyone who's a fan of it. I do like some reality TV shows. I'm a big fan of Survivor and The Traders, which aren't exactly the most classy shows in the world, but other than that, I'm not crazy about it. When it comes to theme parks, generally I enjoy the immersion and the sort of escape from reality, experiencing these rides and attractions, immersing in exciting experiences like the recent Rivertown, which is fantastic. Such a world-class precinct. I'm just personally not crazy about this. I think it's a strange combination of two very different worlds. Probably fit Dreamworld's branding a little bit more so in the mid-2000s and 2010s, because I feel like Dreamworld's moved back to its roots as more of a family-based park that's sort of inspired by Disney. Yeah, just not crazy about this. What do you think? Are you a fan of Big Brother? Do you like it being at the park like this? Do you enjoy it having such an enormous presence and effect on the branding itself? Let me know down below in the comments. Unfortunately, there were a couple of other things I noticed at the park on this day that I wasn't crazy about. Again, it may have just been an off day or just the consequences of a sort of bridging period. I decided to take a quick ride on Jungle Rush using the single rider queue, or at least I had hoped to, but unfortunately it ended up being a much lengthier wait than I had anticipated, and it sort of messed up my plans a little bit for the afternoon. The park was pretty busy, all things considered, but they were only running one train on Jungle Rush, and there were only 2 staff operating the ride, so the wait time was quite significant. And although I'm sure the staff were doing the best they could, I really think they could have used with an extra staff member on board to welcome guests and send them to their rows, because with just the 2 staff running the ride, they had to go in and out a lot to board people onto the ride and check their restraints, so everything took a lot longer than usual. And I've never really queued in the single rider queue before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it did seem like they could have moved things along a little bit faster if they maybe took 1 or 2 of the single riders at once. It seemed like they were waiting to accept the single riders only if someone had happened to use a fast pass, or if there happened to be a group of 3 people, for example, and there was an extra seat. So there were quite a few trains I just had to watch go past because they didn't take any of the single riders. And I'm not trying to be some privileged crybaby, I just didn't really understand how it was supposed to work. And I was also a little bit confused about how the single rider queue worked, because the main queue was very long and I didn't really know how to get to the single rider queue, because as you enter Jungle Rush you can either enter the regular queue or the fast pass queue. If I entered the regular queue, I would have been waiting around much longer to get to the single rider queue. So I went in the fast pass area and then hopped into the single rider queue, and I wasn't sure if I was breaking rules or something. I felt embarrassed to see all the people watching me go past, and I felt like I was jumping the line or something. Yeah, it was a little bit unclear. It would have helped maybe to have some more directions. And then the ride experience, unfortunately, to no fault of Dreamworld's, was one of the worst ride experiences I've ever had because of some other park guests sitting behind me. It was a group of teenage girls, and they were just having some fun, screaming as loud as they possibly could. Not because they were scared, but just for the sheer fun of screaming. Unfortunately, it was incredibly loud and a horrible experience. It completely ruined the whole ride for me, and I felt like I'd wasted all my time standing around in the queue for 30 to 40 minutes or whatever it was, and these girls screaming behind me at the highest pitch frequency at the loudest volume imaginable. It put me in a pretty awful mood, and I wasn't too happy after that, so I didn't really film anything else. However, I did notice a lot of areas of the park where there was paint chipping away and things didn't appear to be kept in the greatest condition. It honestly felt like it had stepped into a different universe or something, because I usually have such high opinions of Dreamworld. I genuinely love the park. I'm not saying this just for the sheer fun of clickbait or trying to get views or anything. I'm just saying it because I didn't want to lie and pretend that I had an amazing time when I didn't, and I also didn't want to make some boring video where I just didn't mention those things. And I'm only saying this stuff because I have the highest respect for Dreamworld and the CEO Greg Yong, who said many times in the past that he appreciates all kinds of feedback, even if it's negative, because it helps improve the park. So hopefully my observations can help improve things, because I love Dreamworld. I think it's amazing. I honestly think it was just a strange day. It's a bit of a weird time at the moment with Big Brother, and I have just come back from Tokyo Disney Sea, and the contrast is probably a little bit more apparent to me. I still think Dreamworld's incredible. It's a wonderful park. Not everything was bad, because there was also some awesome stuff, as I teased at the beginning of the video. King Claw is moving along. It's getting closer and closer to opening, and it's super impressive. The theming looks incredible. They're really lifting the bar so high with King Claw, especially following Rivertown. It was a big question mark. What would they do to live up to the same quality of Rivertown? And I think they've managed to do it with King Claw, and they still seem to be adding more and more theming. The sign is there, the photo opportunities there, and lots of thematic elements in the queue and surrounding the ride. I think it looks amazing. Theme Park Ogre also noticed some signs mentioning something about a soft opening, which would be exclusive to pass holders, which is very exciting news, and I'm sure we'll see some updates about this very soon. So that brings me to the end of this episode of the YumYum Report. I'm sorry if it's a little bit more negative than usual. I usually try to be a positive channel and don't get too into the nitty-gritty of bad experiences, but unfortunately I just wasn't gelling with the vibe today, and that could be completely due to me, or it could be because there's a couple of things that are worth noting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. A big thank you to the members and sponsors of Team YumYum: Randall, Maloney's Coasters, Kai on the Internet, Oogie Boogie, Theme Park Ogre, Jordan Casey, Johnny Boy 175, The Downy Cat, Mika, Carrie Jackin, Smathmo the Awesome, Aston, Breezy, Koala75, Audrey Allen, Senpai's JP Blue Dog, Senpai's JP Red Dog, Wayne Hewitt, Lee Donald, SW Stevie 1, Sienna, The Kez, and the latest member of Team YumYum, Lexi Marie. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.